we have the God of surprises. This is a God who keeps doing things we don't expect. Think back to the Old Testament. Think of Abraham and Sarah. St. Paul said he was as good as dead when Isaac was conceived. Who would have thought? Remember, Sarah even laughed, right? And think of Ezekiel, the prophet and priest, saying, I see these dry bones gathering up and coming to life and flesh coming back on them. Who would have thought? And we have this story again about Jesus, as they thought, the prophet who got killed. Who would have thought? Did you notice they said, we were hoping, past tense, it's over, nuts. It didn't happen. We thought he would redeem Israel, but oh shoot. Okay? That's what they were thinking. They weren't recognizing the God of surprises again. I find it extraordinary that leaders in the early Christian community like Peter suddenly get courage and they get up and speak about all this stuff that you heard about in the readings today. Peter, remember, he was terrified, and why not? And so were all the early apostles. They were scared. They were hiding in rooms. They were locking doors, all this kind of stuff. They didn't expect anything extraordinary to happen. And even when they ran to the tomb, do you remember the story? They didn't believe it. What did Mary Magdalene say? She didn't come and say Jesus was raised from the dead. She came and said, somebody took his body and I don't know where it is. She didn't expect the resurrection. They didn't expect the resurrection. If you were making up this story, those early people would have said, well, we knew it was going to happen, but those other dumb people, no, they didn't do that. They said, we didn't expect it either. They didn't make this story up. They weren't complimenting themselves. They were saying we were stupid. You don't do that when you tell a story. But that's exactly what they told us. They didn't get it. And these two disciples on the road to Emmaus, the same thing. They weren't expecting. What they expected was it was all over. You get that in the story of the road. That's what we were trying to imagine for you in the quilt back here, a road. Okay? And what they saw there was, oh shoot, it's all over. They even tell you in this story their eyes were downcast. It's over. Wow. They didn't see. And I find it amazing, and I hope you do too, that they say they recognized him in the breaking of the bread. Why is that amazing? Well, think about it. How many times did they break bread in their lives, for heaven's sakes? Thousands. They didn't recognize the presence of the living God every time they broke bread. They thought of it as a blessing, but they didn't think God is present with them, really. Why did they see it that time and never before? Go back and think. Remember, now we're beginning to remember the story of the Last Supper, in which most of them were not present. And Jesus, with his words of institution that you'll hear again tonight in the Mass, this is my body given for you. This is my blood poured out for you. It's not a symbol. It's the real thing. They didn't get that either until what? Until they recognized that his broken body really was the source of life for them. Of course it was about the resurrection. Of course. And it was then that their eyes were open. They finally began to put it together. That the Lord's broken body, which he talked about in the Last Supper as the bread, and his blood poured out as the wine. Yes, oh my gosh, he really was present. They finally got it. That's what's happening tonight in this gospel. They finally get it. He's really present with them. With that, their eyes were open. Ding! The light bulb went on, if you will, in our colloquial English. They figured it out. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And with that, they didn't need to see him physically anymore because they had him physically present in the Eucharist. Sisters and brothers, do you see in this Mass? Do you see it in every Mass? Or are your eyes prevented from seeing? He's really present. Of course he is. That broken body from which the blood was separated are together, united again, in you who receive his body and blood together. Do you see it? That's the faith in which these little ones will be baptized. That's the faith in which all of us are saying, yes, we'll help in whatever way we can with catechesis. But that's the faith to which we witness. Do you see? Really? That's the question for tonight and this week. Open your eyes that you may see. He's a happy little guy. God keep you in peace.